Good morning, everyone. Well, it is a good morning. It's a beautiful day out there again. So we're being blessed in every possible way. Cintisha will not be doing the talk. You may have come here for that. Excuse me a second. She got a little bit of food poisoning last week, just the end of the week. And so she's at home. And so I will be doing the talk at 11 o'clock. And is there anybody here from another unity? We'd like to welcome you if you're from another unity. Oh, you are? What unity are you from? Huh?
Another universe.
Another universe? No, I'm talking to these two people back here. Columbine Unity. Okay, welcome aboard. Love to have you. Okay, is there anybody here? We have a gift for you right there. Raise your hand. Okay, anybody here for the first time? Raise your hand and keep them up. We're going to give you a gift. Yeah. No, but this is Unity of Boulder, and that gift is a bag of marijuana. Okay. So don't smoke it during the service. All right. That's good. So Wendy says, Tim, I just can't marry you. Tim says, why not? Is there someone else? She says, oh, there must be, Tim. There just must be.
After that, I'm keeping you on stage for just a second longer. So as Jack said, Santisha's out today. She caught a small bout of food poisoning earlier this week. She's fine. She's just getting over it, but she's still not ready to come in just yet in another day or two. But it is Father's Day, and Santisha did want to give a shout out to all the fathers attending Unity here live and on live stream, and just say we appreciate you, and she knows just how hard of a job fatherhood is. And she also wrote something for me to read to Jack here. So pretend that this is Santisha reading this, not me. I want to recognize my dad. That is clearly, you all well know, that's not what she sounds like. But I want to recognize my dad, Jack Groverland, today on this Father's Day. Unfortunately, I'm under the weather today, and I'm unable to celebrate you today. However, I am always in the awe of your guidance and steadfast way you show up for all the joys, the turmoil, the transformations in my life. There is no other like you. There is no other love quite like yours. My brothers and I are so truly blessed to have witnessed a man who is a truth student, paving the way for so many other besides ourselves to find true peace, love, and happiness in this sometimes difficult world. Dad, I love you, and I'm so glad you are still here to celebrate today. We got way too close to that being very different this last December. Thank you, God, for you, and I love you. Happy Father's Day, Dad.
All right, thank you, Santisha. If you're tuning in, Santisha, thank you. It's really appreciated coming from you, who I appreciate so much. You're such a blessed human being, doing such a great job, not just with the church work, but with the entire family. So God bless you as well. And to all of you, God bless you, fathers, and even you mothers today. It's work to be that, to raise children. It's got a certain amount of work to it, but in the end, it turns out to be a greatest part of our lives, to raise children and be part of their lives as they grow up and live life. So, well, no more said. You're going to introduce somebody.
Yeah, yes I am.
Go for it.
Now I'd like to welcome our special guest musician up here today. He's been a longtime friend of Unity of Boulder's here. He is a world-class astrologer, and he has performed all over the world. He's even been on America's Got Talent. Altazar, please come on up here and give us a little bit of love.
Well, happy Father's Day. And I'll be performing a song today that is one that brings up how we are reminded during the pandemic to be more deeply aware of the center of our spirituality. And so, not having been reminded throughout many years attending Unity, but this song is a Course in Miracles tune, originally by Michael Stillwater, called Let Me Return. Let me return to the source of my life, bring back the meaning within. I know I'm not different from everyone else. Come, let our song now begin. It's you are an angel of everyday life, walking alongside my way. I have been blessed by your radiance, blessed to have come to this day. There's a song in the wind, like a heavenly tide, lifting our hearts to the sun. Now we Join with me. Deep is the ocean that moves through us all. Strong is the current and wide. I can be happy the rest of my life, choosing to have peace inside. Again. Deep is the ocean that moves through us all. Strong is the current and wide. I can be happy the rest of my life, choosing to have peace inside. There's a song in the wind like a heavenly tide, lifting our hearts to the sun. Now we can know what was always inside, calling us home, everyone. Together. Deep is the ocean that moves through us all. Strong is the current and wide. I can be happy the rest of my life, choosing to have peace inside. Yes, deep is the ocean that moves through us all. Strong is the current and wide. I can be happy the rest of my life, choosing to have peace inside.
Oh.
Baltazar? That was wonderful. We get another chance to hear another tune from him following the offering today, so stick around. Welcome everyone to Unity of Boulder. Those of you who are joining us here in person and those of you who are joining us online, we love spending an hour a week with you. It is our joy and our pleasure to do so, so thank you very much for joining us. We'd like to talk today about a few quick, really easy things everyone can do to help us out here at Unity of Boulder. As we know today, our online presence and growth is absolutely vital to keep this church up and running and going. So even if you're here in person, if today's speech or if today's sermon or the music touched you, when you see the video on your YouTube feed or on your Facebook feed, click that like button. Even just the like button really helps us. The more likes and stuff we get on all our social platforms, including YouTube as well, and if you're watching the video on unityofboulder.com, it really does help spread the message and get it out to more people. So hit that share button. You can even go back. You can go into YouTube. You just search Unity of Boulder Church to find a talk that was 3 weeks ago, a year ago, 6 months ago, that you remember that really touched you. Maybe it reminded you of someone you want to share it specifically to, or you just want to grab it again and share it. Please do so. It helps us tremendously. It just helps keep this center thriving. Our numbers online are growing as far as viewerships and stuff like that. So the more we can spread that word, the better. So next, I'd like to show a video about an upcoming event led by Steve Hayes, which will be a freestyle spiritual dance practice group. Go ahead and hit that.
It's good.
Rolling.
All right. Hello, Steve Hayes here, reminding you that we have a freestyle spiritual dance practice starting in a couple weeks. It's called Spirit in Motion. It's unlike any dance event you've been to before. It's all about sacred healing, community, flow. It's safe for all ages, no choreography, no experience necessary, just your heart as a guide. So check out our mission statement in the lobby, and I'll see you there.
Thank you, Video Steve. All right. Now I'd like to invite Norma Groverland out here. Who's going to lead us in some joy music.
Okay, so we're going to do a song that I'd like you all to be part of it. And so I'd like you to stand. You may not know by the time I get through the first verse, and I'm going to repeat that so you can sing it, because I know you've heard it through the years. Okay. I want you all to sing. I don't care what you sound like, if it's not the right notes. Just feel it. I can only imagine what this world could be. No more wars, no more poverty. I can only imagine what my eyes could see. Crystal waters, pure and clear. I can only imagine. So let's do that one more time. I can only imagine what this world could be. No more wars, no more poverty. I can only imagine what my eyes could see. Crystal waters, pure and clear. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance with creation for the awesomeness I see? Will I smile and say thank you for the truth has been revealed? What we do to the least, we do to one another. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Let's do that chorus again. Here we go. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance with creation for the awesomeness I see? Will I smile and say thank you for the truth that's been revealed? What we do to the least, we do to one another. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine all life in harmony, only truth and integrity. I can only imagine what my eyes will see. Many life forms roaming free. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance with creation for the awesomeness I see? Will I smile and say thank you for the truth that's been revealed? What we do to the least, we do to one another. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Let's make it happen.
Good morning again. I want to begin by relating a scene from an old movie, and I don't recall the title of it. It was either The Robe or Quo Vadis. There were two biblical movies, and this scene is from one of them. I don't know which one. This Roman soldier is looking to meet Jesus, the great miracle worker and teacher that everyone that has ever met him has either been healed by or talks about the wisdom that he shares. And so this Roman soldier has been searching for him through the provinces, and he comes upon a woman who is crippled and being carried in a gurney. And he's talking to some people around there looking for Jesus, and she says, I met him. He healed me. And the Roman soldier looks at her and says, but look at the condition of your body. And she says, what does the condition of my body have to do with the fact that I'm healed? And that's a real departure from most of the Hollywood movies, because it speaks to the healing of Christ or Jesus being a healing in the state of mind. Her mind was healed of all the limited feelings that she had generated over the idea that her physical body had been in this terrible state for quite a while. And so I want to talk about that today. I want to talk about healing as, a state of mind that most of us in this country should be very aware of. Unfortunately, most are not. Most people in this country are living a miracle life, but they do not recognize it. However, those that recognize it carry on in an awareness of gratitude. And gratitude is an amazing spiritual secret. They talked about that secret that was a big deal years back, that, the secret to living the life that's truly worth living. But when you get right down to it, it is a life of gratitude that is truly worth living. You can acquire many of the benefits and advantages of the world, but let me say this, if you don't have gratitude, those benefits will be meaningless. And so let us begin with this insight from A Course in Miracles. Can we have this first PowerPoint? You can read this in the old Course in Miracles text, page 251, paragraph 2, or the new text on page 271. If you are blessed and do not know it, you need to learn it must be so. The knowledge is not taught, but its conditions must be acquired, for it is they that have been thrown away. You can learn to bless and cannot give what you have not. If then you offer blessing, it must have come first to yourself, and you must also have accepted it as yours, for how else could you give it away? That is why miracles offer you the testimony that you are blessed. If what you offer is complete forgiveness, you must have let guilt go. Accepting the atonement for yourself and learning you are guiltless, how could you learn what has been done for you, unknown to you, unless you do what you have to do if it had been done for you? Can we take this back again? I'm sure people that are not familiar with the Course in Miracles, their head is spinning a little bit. I'll break it down to its essential parts. If you are blessed and do not know it, you need to learn it must be so. You see, A Course in Miracles isn't relating the idea that we have to learn how to be blessed or to live a blessed life. It's saying you already have a blessed life. You were created by this Creator to live a life of blessings, but you're not aware of it. And so it's not a question of learning something. It's a question of recognizing something. See, can you see the subtle difference in that? If we are to recognize that our lives are blessed, such a difference it will make in the way we feel about ourselves and everyone else. It says you can learn to bless, and you cannot give what you have not. So if you learn to bless, that is, if you learn to give out blessings, and you cannot give out blessings unless you have blessings, then the key to finding life truly worth living is to give out blessings. This is what his point is making. If then you offer blessing, it must have come first to you. Of course it does. And if you must also have accepted it as yours, for how else could you give it away? Do you see the beauty in this? The whole idea that we are interconnected, brothers and sisters in the one mind of this incredible God we refer to, that we are all seriously, at this point, blessed in our lives. But the problem we have in the human dilemma that exists is that we do not recognize it. And the reason why we do not recognize it, it'll go on to say, here's what it will say. That is why miracles offer you the testimony that you are blessed. If what you offer is complete forgiveness, you must have let guilt go, accepting the at-one-ment for yourself and learning you are guiltless. And that's really the key to everything in A Course in Miracles, learning the at-one-ment, recognizing that everything we look upon, everything we see, and every relationship we have is sacred because we are looking upon the creation. That is our calling, to awaken, to be able to awaken to the reality that everything we look upon, everything we see, is only God looking back at me. Now you can understand that in that state of mind, you will feel joy and you will feel peace because you will have automatically released all of the limited negative thoughts you may have held about other people and all of the limited negative thoughts you may have held about circumstances in your life and all about, fears and concerns that you continually think about. But now watch what it says to us as it goes on here. How could you learn what has been done for you, unknown to you, unless you do what you have to do if it had been done for you? That is, how can you learn this whole idea that you're blessed unless you do what you would be doing if you recognize you were blessed, which is to give peace, love, forgiveness, consideration, compassion in all that you are. And it says we have thrown that away. We haven't actually thrown it away. We've all been beguiled by the world. The pleasures and treasures of the world have so beguiled our minds that we give most of our attention to them. And because we give most of our attention to them, what they are to us will determine how we feel. When conditions and circumstances in the world are going according to our personal desires, we will feel okay, we'll feel good, we may even feel peaceful. But when they're not going according to our personal desires, what we inwardly want and demand, then we don't feel good. We feel bad, we feel angry, we feel upset, and we feel like someone needs to be blamed, something has to be done. And do you see that that continual way of living is a way of disaster? It is the human dilemma. And the human dilemma is this: if you don't take anything else away with you from this talk, take this with you. The problem we human beings have is we don't know how to feel good, regardless of circumstances. We have allowed our lives in the world, which have been conditioned from birth, to be overridden, overtaken, encrusted with the illusions of the thinking of the world. We have allowed the world to be in our minds more often than anything else. Whereas if we had been along the way awakened to the fact that we are divine beings called upon to bless, be considerate, sharing, caring, loving, brothers and sisters, if we were to take on that awareness, everything good would eventually come into our experience. And that is the transformation that true spiritual reality is attempting to get across to us. we have forgotten that we were made in the image and likeness of God, and we do not know how to feel good, regardless of circumstances. Ask yourself that question. Do I know how to feel good regardless of circumstances? Or does my state of consciousness reflect what is happening in the world? So if your state of consciousness only reflects what is happening in the outside world, then you don't know how to feel good. And when you don't know how to feel good, you don't know how to feel God. And that is the true religion. The true religion is the recognition of this divine intelligence and love, which has given us life and allowed us to have free will. And in that allowing free will, we have found ourselves taken away from our connection to, our awareness of the presence of this refined intelligence we refer to as God. So that is our calling. This is the real secret. All the benefits, all of the advantages of the world will be meaningless in an unhealed mind that does not feel gratitude. Imagine that. The only problem the human race has, and the reason why human beings are at odds with each other over everything else in life, is because we do not recognize that we are divine, and in that recognition, truly, we feel gratitude. And what A Course in Miracles is suggesting is what we need to come to recognize. It's telling us it's not something that you learn, it's something that you recognize. And it is said best this way. Can we have this next PowerPoint, please? You can read this in the book, The Door to Everything, on page 108, paragraphs 3 and 4. I am God who requires understanding, and your search for reunification with me is an individual responsibility. Each must learn for himself or herself how to live upward, as it were, through thought into the realm of feeling and then into the realm of being. This upward movement in consciousness can begin just where you are if you relinquish the customary attitudes and fill your heart with a new song, a song of love, a song of praise, a song of gratitude. That's it. If you really want to do something totally extraordinary, step out of the life you have been living this day, on this very day. Step through those doors outside as you go to your automobile, and you decided that you are going to try by faith this whole aspect of blessing, having gratitude, and feeling compassion and love. You're just going to do that. And if anything seems to interfere with that, you're going to pause, and you're going to say, no, I want to practice the presence of my creation. And see what will happen for you in this one day. You will find true life. And the rest of it is not true life that we have attempted to make life, trying to make life work. So, love, praise, and gratitude are considered, and should be considered by us, the attitudes of ascension. If you want to ascend into the consciousness of heaven, which is right here, right now, where Jesus said it is, then you take on the attitudes of ascension. To praise, to have gratitude, and to express compassion and love. I have met and sometimes mingled with people who are very well-to-do. Excuse me a second while I clear my throat. And sometimes mingled with people who have been well-to-do. And I have found among them those that literally appreciate their lives. They live a life of appreciation and gratitude naturally. And you say, well, naturally, well, because they're well-to-do. That's not so, because I've also met people who are not so well-to-do, and I've mingled with them as well. And there are some that are well-to-do, that have a lot in their lives that people would consider they have everything they need to feel good, but they don't feel good. And they don't feel good because they don't know that they have everything they need right now, just as you do, to feel good. They don't know that. They think it has something to do with getting more. I'll give you an example of that. Before I ever entered the ministry, or have thoughts of the ministry, unless this is vodka, I don't want it. Thank you. Okay. And in my early manhood, I was aspiring to be a writer in New York City, and I got involved with this really young new agent in this big agency, and he said, well, we're looking at your screenplay, but there's an opening for a copywriter. That's the person that writes copy for an ad agency. And they're looking for a really creative individual type of person, and I don't know if you fit the bill, but it pays pretty well. So I applied for this job at this ad agency, and I got it. And the first project I was given was to write ad copy for great literature. And then the second part of that project would be to write ad copy for great music. And then after that, I was to write copy for great art. They were going to sell, great art was they're going to sell, screen of great paintings, that people would buy these paintings. They'd be imitations. And great books was they reduced the great literature of the world to really small, tiny little books. War and Peace was 10 pages. Supposedly it would give you a handle that when you're at particular really highfalutin parties and people have intelligence of all the great literature, you'll be able to carry on or whatever. Anyway, it was a con. But that's the work that I had at first. And while I was doing that work, I was trying to produce a play off Broadway in New York City. And so I decided one Sunday to go to the office in the morning where I could copy my play and not have to pay for it. I needed 10 copies. And so I went to the office where they have this great copy machine, believing nobody would be there on Sunday morning. And lo and behold, while I'm copying my play, the owner of the agency walks in and says, Jack, what are you doing? And I said, well, I just got done copying some of the great literature information that I need to hand out to get some feedback from people, but I'm now copying my play. He said, well, you're going to pay for the paper for your play, right? Can you imagine? I said to him, gee, you are, why are you here on Sunday? And he said, I'm here on Sunday to work. And I said, well, you're a millionaire, right? He said, see, that's what you always get. That's what he said to me. That's what you always get. People think $1 million is the end of it all. That you can do anything. Let me tell you something. $1 million doesn't go as far as you think it does. $1 million doesn't. He's talking to somebody who was a hundredaire. Anyway, that was his attitude. That he had to work on Sundays because he didn't have enough yet in his mind. Let me tell you how much he actually had. He not only owned this Madison Avenue ad agency, he also owned the franchise, this food franchise, maybe I shouldn't name it, Arby's. Okay. He owned Arby's. He's the biggest stockholder in the Arby's food chain. So, I mean, he had wealth. And yet he's working probably not only just 6 days a week, maybe even 7, because he thought he needed more. And he actually said that to me once. I'll be okay when I have as much money as Fred Caden. Fred Caden was a client that we were working for that actually owned a couple of ski resorts and, was, so wealthy it was unbelievable. So he was like trying to catch up to this other person that he knew. And then I'll tell you another part of the story. I said that I've also mingled with those that weren't well-to-do at all, were poor, and how some of them, their poverty was difficult because they saw life as a great struggle all the time. And they just said they never had a chance, they never got a break, and they blamed everything and everyone for not having an opportunity to live the life they really should be living. And then I knew people that didn't have very much at all, were poor, who had gratitude and bestowed peace and bestowed compassion and love. And one of them was my mother. I grew up in a cold water flat in Hoboken, when Hoboken was 90% a ghetto for, all cultures and all nationalities. And it was really a rundown. Most of it was just a slum. Nobody had yet seen the advantage of having a place on the river that overlooks New York, so they hadn't seen that. Today, Hoboken is an upscale town. Back then, it was a ghetto, and it was downtrodden and filled with, crime and all kinds of problems that it had. We lived there in a cold water flat. We quite often didn't have electricity. The one advantage of living in this building that was sometimes condemned, every now and then they'd have the notice up on it, then they would take it down, but the radiators in the building, whoever owned that building had to at least keep the radiators going so you'd have heat coming up through the apartments. I lived on the 5th floor with my mother and brother and sister. And so on many occasions, we would have stewed tomatoes cooked in a pot with saltine crackers broken up into it and mixed in it and heated up on a radiator, and we had no electricity. On occasions, my mother would do an extraordinary thing. She would go down into the basement where they had the electrical meters that measured your electrical use. And, when they turn it off, they bring the handle down on the box that goes to your apartment, and they remove the fuse. At that time, that's how it worked in that particular place. And my mother found out that if you go down, you can take a penny and put it in the fuse box where the fuse goes, and it will make the connection and you'll have electricity. And you had to know my mother. She was amazing. She was an orphan at age 2, her whole life. She grew up, never had anything, never a life worth living, had 3 children that she cherished and took care of, worked in an embroidery factory for 75 cents an hour, and tried to make life possible. it wasn't a life worth living. But she knew these little things and got caught doing that a number of times. My older sister relates some of the things. My mother used to joke about it when the meter man would come upstairs, rap on the door, and say to her, "Are you crazy? Do you know that you could burn this entire building down?" And my mother would say things, she would joke about it. I know she didn't really say this, but this is the way she would joke about it. She would say, "I don't need the lecture, just give me my penny back." She had that kind of sense of humor, and she had that kind of gratitude for the nothingness that she had. And she was an inspiration to me, and should have been an inspiration enough to keep me from living a life of crime. But I grew up in an area on those streets, and I learned all the wrong things about life. And at that time, what I thought to myself is, the only people that are ever happy and have a life are people that have money, have a lot of money. And I grew up with that thought, and I decided I'm going to get money no matter what I have to do. And if that meant, robbing a bank or doing what I had to do, I would do it. That's the way I felt about my life at that time. And then, of course, as I lived my life, things changed, and I had miraculous things occur that had no reason to be there in my life. Things took place, and they take place in your life as well. I'm not saying this to try to say to you, I was specially chosen for the life I'm living. I'm saying everybody has these extraordinary experiences that come to them, to relate to them that there is more to life than just struggling with the way the world thinks. There is more to it. And we'll look at that as we look at this particular PowerPoint from A Course in Miracles. This is true. If you could take this with you, you would already be so close to being free. If God's will for you is complete peace and joy, unless you experience only this, you must be refusing to acknowledge His will. His will does not vacillate, being changeless forever. When you are not at peace, it can only be because you do not believe you are in Him. Yet He is all in all. His peace is complete, and you must be included in it. His laws govern you because they govern everything. You cannot exempt yourself from His laws, although you can disobey them in your mind. You cannot upend the law of giving and receiving. No one can, no one ever will. You may ignore the consequences that arrive whenever you are attempting to deny that that law is in operation, but it is always in operation because it is the creation in which you live and move and have your life. That law is there with you. You cannot exempt yourself from His laws, although you can disobey them in your mind. Yet if you do, and only if you do, you will feel lonely and helpless because you are denying yourself everything. I am come as a light into a world that does deny itself everything. We can leave it there. We don't need any more of that. You can take it down. Thank you. So we have this understanding that has always come to us down through the ages. The masters of life became masters because they saw that life as it exists in the mundane thinking of the world, the thinking that you were born into, raised by your parents, the thinking of your peers, and the thinking of those so-called authority figures who create the thinking of the world that somehow or other you are a separate body-mind in a world of separate phenomena. There is no interconnectedness. with anything else around you. And so you are a lonely, separate, and quite often desperate human being attempting to foist your personal self-interest on everything you see around you, in the awareness that if you can gain control over what they are, if you can get them to honor you and find ways to do for you what you want in your own life, if you want them to fulfill your personal desires, your dictates and demands, you will find a good life. That is the ultimate lie in which we live, and will continue to live unless we decide to take to task our own awareness. That is our calling. We should arrive at a place in our existence where we recognize there has to be more to all this life in order to feel good. Because you see people that have attained everything the world could possibly have that's considered great, wonderful, a treasure, a blessing, and yet they wind up in drug rehabilitation centers. Some of them are alcoholics and can't take care of themselves. Some of them commit suicide. Not all of them, because, that's not the root to evil. Root to evil is the fact that, listen to it again, take it with you. The dilemma, the human dilemma that each of us shares until we awaken is we don't know how to feel good, which means we have ignored, neglected on how to feel God, which means we ignore the fact that everything and everyone we meet and look upon and interact with is also from God and is worthy of compassion, consideration, and love. We don't know how to feel good because we don't know how to praise. We don't know how to feel gratitude, and we don't know how to bestow love. That's it. I mean, what do you want to do? Next year you want to go to Europe and see the big cathedrals? What do you want to do? You want to go to Tibet? Go to find a holy person up in the mountains of Tibet who can give you the insight that you need, that's going to lay their hands on you, and your life is going to work from then on. No, all of that is just pomp and circumstance. If you want life, recognize that you already have it. And it's only the way you think about life that denies you feeling good. Think to yourself the times you really felt good. Life is good. Well, maybe you did at times that things went your way. Now imagine what mastery is like. A master can feel good regardless of circumstances. A master learns to be still and wait and know this moment is also sacred. And if it's difficult, if there's situations and challenges on your path in this moment, recognize that and them as your teacher. The world in which we live right now and always has been and always will be, it is divinely orchestrated by an intelligence that is love itself. If you want to find life and find it abundantly, take to task the limited thinking of the world you have allowed to encroach upon your happiness, your peace, and your own love. We'll take a few moments for meditation together. Become still, take a couple of deep breaths. As you release your breath, what we're here to do right now is just for a few moments, and then maybe you'll get used to doing it every day. Release the cares and the concerns that come with the thinking of the world and the ideas that something is missing, something is needed, something is wrong. That's the thinking of the world. Just relax and breathe and become okay. We're sitting here and considering. I now recognize the miracle of my life. I count my blessings and feel true gratitude for everyone who makes them possible. I relinquish all grievances that come to mind, for such block my feelings of well-being. As I live, I praise and thank those who appear on my path, bestowing benefits to myself and life in general. Praising ignites the divine spirit that fills me with joy. I love my life and give thanks for the many blessings that it affords me. Giving and receiving are the same path to joy and love. I now recognize the miracle of being alive. I count my blessings and feel true gratitude for everyone who makes them possible. I relinquish all grievances that come to mind, for such block my feelings of well-being. As I live, I praise and thank those who appear on my path, bestowing benefits to myself and life in general. Praising ignites the divine spirit that fills me with joy. I love my life and give thanks for the many blessings that it affords me. Giving and receiving are the same path to joy and love. I now recognize the miracle of being alive. I count my blessings and feel the true gratitude for everyone who makes these blessings possible. I praise God for the blessings in my life, and I relinquish all grievances that come to mind, for such block my feelings of well-being. As I live, I praise and thank those who appear on my path, bestowing benefits to myself and life in general. Praising ignites the divine spirit that fills me with joy. I love my life and give thanks for the many blessings that it affords me. I therefore seek to bless to bestow peace, to bestow consideration, to bestow love. Giving and receiving are the same path to joy and love. For beyond all of the concerns that visit the mind, there is one presence, one power available. It is God. Recognizing this, I feel good. And for this opportunity in every moment, I practice the presence of feeling good. And to this, we say, Amen. We will take an offering for unity now. And as we're preparing to do this, we should acknowledge all of the opportunities that we have in our lives to bestow blessings. For it comes down to what you are giving out is what you will be experiencing life as. And that is the law. Whatever you are giving out, whatever holds your thinking, and whatever you think about all the time, most of the time, is returning to you in life. Because all minds, even though each mind may not be awake to it, all minds are in communication. Those of you that are watching on screen, you have these ways that you can tithe to Unity of Boulder. And I think you can scroll down on your screen and find the donation flag, and you can use that to donate to Unity of Boulder. Let us bring to mind that financial gift we want to make today. And let's bless it with this offering prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And so it is. Oh, we have Altasar to share his music with us once again.
Are y'all ready to feel good? Well, here's a great classic, Advent of the New Age from the 60s. And I just want to share with those online that although the internet is one form of connection, you can really feel good if you come back here to the building and interconnect with people face to face. So let's get together. Love is but a song we sing, fear the way we die. You can make the mountains ring, make the angels cry. Know the dove is on the wing, and you may not know why. Come on, people now, come on, your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Sisters, I say, come on, people now, come on, sister, everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Some will come and some will go, it will surely pass, till understand. You hold the key to love and fear in your trembling hand. Just one key unlocks the boat. It's at your command. Come on, people now. Come on, your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. I said, come on, people now. Come on, sister. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. I said, come on, people now. Come on, your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. Right now. Right now.
All righty. For those of you that might be facing a particular challenge you want to pray about, we have our prayer partners over here. They are the ones wearing the white sashes. If you'll just remain seated when everyone else files out, prayer partner will come to you and share a prayer with you. Or if you wish, you can go downstairs to our beautiful meditation room and share a prayer down there. So, I want to thank all of you for showing up. I want to invite all of you that have decided to watch all of this online. We want to invite you back. Our sanctuary is purified every day whenever we have a service. We have these EG lights that purify the air, the atmosphere. We do the pews. We take care of everything. So it's pretty safe to be here once again. Looking forward for you to come back into the physical church. All right, shall we all get ready to sing our closing benediction? Where's Norma?
This is my song, oh God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands apart and wide. This is my home, the country where my heart is. This is my home, my peace, my shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating with hopes and dreams the same as mine.
Thank you for sharing, coming forward, being with us today. We have refreshments in Fellowship Hall, and you can stop over in Fellowship Hall, meet some of the people that you're sharing this congregation with, and
Don't forget the summer solstice is going to be in the garden area where we're going to start, we'll walk the labyrinth, and then we'll be on the grass that's just in front of us.
the summer solstice
7 o'clock, 7
celebration, summer solstice celebration.
That is the Earth celebration that was given to you by the native people from this country and in Ireland and Scotland, and this is all the Earth coming out and saying, let's celebrate.
Okay, so 7 o'clock tomorrow night, over there, just in that beautiful field, that's where it's going to take place, right by the garden, where they have the labyrinth. And everyone will get a chance to walk the labyrinth and then share in the celebration of the solstice.
If anyone would be interested in mowing the lawn out there, that would be great. See
Okay,
me afterwards.
all right.
See Mike afterwards.
I think the riding lawnmower broke down a little bit is also what happened there. So the riding lawnmower is sitting there, a little bit broken.
Oh, great.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, but whatever, it's still soft and great.
All right. Have a good day. Take care.